But with the giants, they're 20, 25 feet tall. And so we really benefited from a technology called simulcam, which enabled us to pre-cap or to pre-capture the giants' performances in rough sets that are recreated on a volume with sort of wireframe pieces of metal, very primitive. And then, so the giant acts out the scene, and then now we have that material captured in the computer. So months and months later, we're in London shooting with the principal actors. We build the minimal parts of the sets necessary. The rest we'll build in the computer, because it's hard to build full sets to house 25-foot tall giants. They would be 600-foot high ceilings and things like that. And then we then use simulcam to project the giants, or a crude rendering of the giants in their performance in the actual space we're shooting. So while the actors are on set acting to tennis balls on sticks, I, on my 3D monitor, actually have the giants doing their performance. And wherever I move the camera around on set, the giant's always there, as if it's there in real life. We did a lot of tests on the mocap stage. We would basically put a human being in a mocap suit. Then we put another human being who's playing a giant in the mocap suit. And we'd have them run around, and you could see real time these crude renderings of what they look like, and then we just dial them larger, or the giant larger. And we just make the giant larger standing next to the human. We make him twice as big, 3 times as big, 4 times as big, 5 times as big. And you have the ability to run around with the camera on the motion capture volume and actually lens the shots, and you find out how hard it is to lens a shot between a human and a giant. They've been sort of imprisoned in Ganshua for about 1,000 years, and they've hunted and foraged. They have many of the remnants of the humans that they've devoured, draped in their clothing or in the architecture of their thrones and whatnot. And they, but they kind of have the look of the earth in a way. I wanted the surfaces of the skin, at first glance it's very animate and living, but if you look closer, are those boils or those little pebbles? Is that hair or is that weeds? So they're not nature creatures. They're not tree people. They're living, breathing beasts, but they've got a bit, of time worn on them and nature on them, and that was very important to make them, living, but then something other than just a big human. I wanted him to be a strong male hero and charismatic, but at the same time, I also wanted him to have some innocence. And Nick's a very funny guy, an incredibly talented actor, but also a very, very funny guy. His sense of humor, he even has these, it's odd that he was the kid in About a Boy, because he when he needs them, he can pull out these little Hugh Grantisms that make him vulnerable, so that through the course of the movie, he can go from being shy and vulnerable to this strong figure by the end of the film. Bill Nye plays the larger head, and John Kassir, who's the voice of the Crypt Keeper and a number of other things, he plays the little head. And it was fun on the mocap stage, because the way they did it is the two of them, because I wanted the heads to interact, the two of them would walk next to each other, and Bill would drive the body, because he had the mocap suit, and then they would kind of move around each other and interact each other, and then we simply, well, not so simply, but complexly glued the little head on in the CG and then built that reaction. But you're really seeing two very fine actors having a ball with each other on a mocap stage, brought to life through visual effects. Ewan's character is more like an older brother to the princess, and very, the direction I gave Ewan was, I'm looking for Errol Flynn. So play him just straight up, everything, he does everything with grace and charm, tally-ho, things like that. And, he never breaks a sweat, and he kind of dances through the, through the adventure. The most important thing was to establish to the design team that it was, it was an ancient world. The giants had a primitive sort of mentality about life, a lot of stone, a lot about feeding and eating because they require large amounts of food. And so we built, we focused on big areas to eat, like the throne room's got these big tables with elephants on them and things like that. And then, and then again, the costumes had to, be not just like the garments of 1,000 years, but also the talismans and remnants of victims of the past.